Today we're going to learn how to do a Dutch braid or a visible braid. This is the type of braid you want to learn if you eventually want to do cornrows or if you want to do crown braids, anything like that. The Dutch braid is the first one that you want to learn for that. It's very similar to the invisible braid, but instead of going over into the middle, you're going to bring the hair under into the middle, and I'll show you what I mean. If you've never done any French braiding or Dutch braiding before, I recommend splitting the hair into two rather than doing the whole head at once. It's much easier to deal with the hair when you have half the head. One tip that I have for beginners is that no matter how awful your braid looks, don't restart the same thing again and again and again. That's where a lot of people go wrong, and then you can never get used to the actual pattern. So the first thing you want to do is get used to the pattern of the braid, and then you want to start getting it smoother and tighter. So do it in steps. If you have really, really curly hair and you want to get it nice and smooth, it's good to at least blow dry or smooth out the roots so that it goes a little bit easier. Otherwise, you don't really need to. Okay, so first I'm going to section the hair by going from the arch of the eyebrow up to the hairline, and then that's where I'm going to start my section. And I'm going to get a little triangle of hair right here. Make sure to grab all the hair. And then you're going to separate this part into 3 pieces. Try to get them as equal as possible. I'm going to do that just by putting my 2 fingers into it and splitting it up. Now, when I braid, I always tend to start with the one that's at the front hairline. You don't have to, but that's just one of the things that I do. All right. The way I hold hair is I hold it with these 3, so my middle to my pinky, and I leave my index and thumb free. So I don't put it here. I make sure that I can see my whole index. For this one, you want to put your hands together, go underneath this middle one, and grab the far right one and then bring it into the middle. Now I'm holding it with these 3, put my thumb and finger together, go underneath to grab this one here. And I'm going to bring that one into the middle. So after you've done that 2 times, the 3rd time, if you were to bring this piece in by itself, you wouldn't be grabbing any hair from the front hairline. So what you really need to do is add hair. So the first step I'm going to do is on a 45-degree angle. So if the ground was like this, you're going to go 45 degrees. I'm going to drag my finger from the front hairline all the way to that piece of hair, and I'm going to add it to this piece. At this point, I'm going to smooth it, tighten it, whatever I need to do, and then I'm going to bring it to the middle. Now this one is the one that's on the far right, so I'm going to hold that one. Put my fingers together, go underneath that middle one to pinch the hair on this far side. Add hair all the way. So when you're grabbing these sections, you should be grabbing the hair all the way to the braid and adding it, not just picking up the hair here and bringing it over. You need to grab that entire section of hair and have a nice section line here. Grab with these 3. I'm going to put my index and thumb together, go underneath that middle part, and I'm going to pinch this far one. I'm just leaving this one in the middle still, and I'm holding this one. Very important that you hold it really high up against the head and towards the braid. You don't want to be holding it down here because then you're going to get a very loose braid. So I'm going to grab all that hair, add it to this one, smooth that hair out, and then I'm going to bring it into the middle. And I'm going to continue this pattern. So I keep talking to myself, especially in the beginning. I say, grab the hair, take the whole section, add it. And then you're going to bring that over. It's very important that you smooth the hair as you go. Otherwise, it can start knotting up at the bottom. Or you could end up with a bunch of little frizzy pieces. So you don't want that. Be careful you're not twisting the braid around. You want to make sure that you're keeping it consistent. So you can see how it's changing how smooth and symmetrical it is by how I'm holding it. So try to be cautious that you're positioning your body and bringing it towards you. So I'm going to try to fix what I was just doing there. So again, see how I'm grabbing all that hair over. And then I'm going to grab with these three and make that nice and tight. So if you get something like this, don't be scared to smooth that out. Grabbing with these three, going underneath and pinching the one on the far side. Adding hair. Trying to take consistent sections. So you don't want to be taking like really large sections and then really small ones. If you take really, really small ones, you're going to get a nice teeny tiny tight braid. If you're taking big, huge sections, then you're going to get a loose braid. Okay, so now I'm going to grab this hair here on a 45. So you can already kind of see that I dropped this piece here, but we're just going to add that there. And just keep going. So as I said in the beginning, you don't want to keep restarting. You need to get used to the pattern of the braid. So just keep going. Even if it's really, really ugly braid, you just keep going. So section the hair. So here I'm taking it smaller to wider, and that's because I'm going around a curve of a head. I'm not doing a straight line here. So I'm taking skinny to wider because when I get to behind the ear, I want my pieces to be more horizontal. So again, I'm grabbing that, going underneath the middle, pinching the left. Now I'm doing the opposite here. I need to travel a larger distance, so I'm going to go thicker to thinner. Tighten that up. Again, go thinner to thicker because I want to get horizontal. And thicker to thinner because I'm traveling a larger distance here. Here, let's raise this a little bit. See, so here I'm at horizontal partings on that side. And on this side, I'm now trying to do the same thing. So it's still going to be thicker to thinner here. So again, notice I'm not holding it off the head. See, just by pulling it off the head, I can loosen everything else in here. So make sure that you're actually holding it against the scalp. You can also ask your client to tilt their head, because if you're pulling on that scalp, it's going to be very, very uncomfortable. And see, I'm just going to keep going. So when I'm at the bottom, I'm just going to grab the rest of that hair. And the reason why is if I take a super consistent section, then what's going to happen is I'm going to have some hair just leaning, kind of just like sitting saggily over the neck, and nobody really wants that when they're getting a nice, beautiful, visible or Dutch braid. So once I've grabbed all that hair, now I'm just going to continue doing the underhanded 3-strand braid.